Hey everybody, Matt Geary for Geek Pride, and I'm with Keisha Castle-Hughes. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. So how are you finding the con today? Warm? Well, obviously not very warm because you've got a jumper on.
Yeah, well, I'm from New Zealand, so I'm always like running colder than most people, but
Is it not cold in New Zealand?
Yeah, it is. It does get pretty cold. Oh, I don't know, I'm confused now. It's been a long day. I'm like, hold on, I just muddled myself up. You know what, I've had a good day today. It's been super fun. I think I'm lucky, like I'm on the back side of the room, so it's a lot cooler over here. Because over the other side, it's pretty gnarly.
Pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
So, what? How did you get the position as a sand snake in Game of Thrones?
Okay. Obara Sand. I was a big fan of the books.
Oh, you've read them?
Yeah, I've read them.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, and so I read them years ago, before it was a telly show, when no one else wanted to know about it, and so exactly. And so I knew that like the storyline of Dawn that would be eventually coming up. I never kind of envisioned myself there. Like I just, as a fan, always thought that if I wanted to live somewhere, Dawn sounded like the best place to live. You've got the highest chance of staying alive for a start.
They're a bit more tolerant, they're bastards.
They're a bit more tolerant to people, and it's nice and sunny, and it's nice and sunny down there. So
they're a bit more free with their love down there.
They're very free, yeah, exactly. They like to fight and love and fight.
So I guess being a fan of the books and prior to the series, this was like, holy shit, I'm in Game of Thrones.
It was. So I mean, I honestly, like, it probably took me like the first 3 months of like having the role. And I was training in like the martial art of wushu and like getting all our weapon work done, and I was freaking out. Like I was like a kid who would, like Charlie would won the golden ticket to be on the set of Game of Thrones. Like it just blew my mind. The first time I met Nikolai and Jerome, they walked out and they just. And I just couldn't breathe, like I couldn't talk, and we were being introduced like, oh, you guys are going to be working together, and these are the girls that are playing the sand snakes, and I just looked at them and went, I'm so cool. It doesn't even make sense. I was just like, I had nothing to say, I freaked out, and I think it took up until like 2 days before I rapped to get over that with them, like it's just, because it's surreal that these people so well as characters, and it's hard to differentiate from, and as those characters in particular, and so every time I would see them, they would be in those costumes that I associated with them with.
So we'll go on to the books. I've talked to everybody about the books and the transition onto the TV show. Now I was a book fan, so certain things I wasn't keen on, but I understand why they've done them. Your character, how do you feel that they've her transition from book to series?
Well, I think when initially like the auditions came up, like I personally didn't think that I could like play Obara purely from a physical aspect. She's like sort of much more physically, I guess, in the more like a Brienne of Tarth sort of, and I'm like 5 foot and quite little. And so I just, but I also knew that there was like a strength of character that I wanted to like get into, and so I knew that if they could get past the physical aspect of it, and that you can work on that, then I thought I could have a good shot at playing it. At first, I was like such a big fan of like the Dawn storyline. I wanted every Dawn character in the TV show. I wanted them all there.
Oberon's an awesome character.
Oh my gosh, Oberon is like, when he came on as a viewer in season 4, I remember just seeing it and going, who is this man? Like where does he come from? And because like aesthetically and the way he sounded and the colours that he wore and just, I don't know, his approach to life in general was so different to anything we'd seen in the previous 4 seasons that you immediately went, I want to go to the place that he's from as a viewer. And so I don't know if this was like some kind of, I don't know if it was like weird timing, but I actually found out that I was playing Obara like around the same time that the episode aired where Oberyn and Martell in the mountain, like, and he has his massive death scene. And I had like I'd found out that I was playing Obara, but obviously once you sign on to something like this, you like give them a little piece of your soul, so never to tell anyone any secrets. And so I couldn't tell anyone this like gigantic, exciting.
That must have killed you, especially as a fan.
It was killing me inside, and then I had this like very violent emotional reaction to his death scene. And my roommate at the time was like, dude, like, it's just a television show.
Do you think it's slightly more gruesome in the series? The TV, the book, his death is bad, but in the series they really sort of show like...
Oh, totally. And I mean, it's so interesting because like there's such different mediums, and like television is for everyone, like, and it's someone's vision. But it's weird when you've read the books because we all have our own vision of what things look like. And they're all, you could talk to a group of 10 people and they'd all have various ideas about what their ideal, characters would look like and their worlds would look like. And so, I did feel like his death scene was like incredibly gruesome though. It was...
So, as death scenes go, what do you think has been the worst one so far?
I'd say that the Red Viper's death scene was pretty...
Compared to the Red Wedding?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, the Red Wedding. I still can't
They really elaborated on that when they killed off his missus as well, and you're like, what? Because she doesn't die in the book, does she? She just sort of disappears.
I was like, guys, come on.
It's just like, that's like whole level.
But it's so shocking, like, that's just the way they, like, knock people off so suddenly. And that, the thing that got me into the series, like, and got me liking the TV show, because like I was kind of dubious about it because I was a fan of the books, and I was like, how are they going to pull this off? And they better do it justice. And I remember like Ned Stark's death, they had me. I just went, what?
How many times you wanted to throw the book out the window?
I know, or just like, throw stuff at your television. Like every week I'm like, that's it, I'm giving up on the show. That's ridiculous. Every season I like declare that I'm never going back to it. In 6 months I start getting the itch and I'm like, oh, when's it coming back? What's happening?
So, obviously, and I've said to your colleagues about this, the books are now in line with, and the series has kind of passed it slightly. How do you feel about the fact that the series is now going to extend past the books, because there's no way Martin's going to get that next book, The Wind of Winter, out anytime soon?
No, exactly. And it's kind of, it is kind of strange, but now that I've worked with and know like David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, like I trust them wholeheartedly. Like they have a very clear, there was something nice about coming into the show when it was so established. Like it was terrifying because it's obviously like such an established show and you can't help but be aware of the success of it and mucking up and and doing a good job in justifying like a character that people have been looking forward to. But at the same time, like they have a very clear, it's like getting any sort of information out of them is impossible. Like they have people bribing them all day long. We're all just like, oh hey, like, oh, did you need a shoulder massage on set? What's Obara up to? They're like, yeah, no. So it's really difficult to get information out of them, but it's very clear once you know them that they know exactly where they're heading with it. So I trust them. But it is scary, like going into territory because we don't have a book anymore, to kind of go off.
It really is, because I quite like being one of the gloaters who knew what was going to happen.
Totally.
When people were dying, you're like, I totally know that shit's going to happen, man, and you don't know. And then when they get bumped off, you're like, I had to live with that for 5 years.
I know, and I couldn't tell you at all.
Okay, we'll move past Game of Thrones and then we'll come right back to it. So you've done a lot of other things, including Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now, was that a big thing for you, obviously being a geek, doing Star Wars?
It kind of like it was. Like it was, it's...
You were a handmaid for Amidala, was it?
Yeah, Queen Apailana, so Queen of Naboo. And it was a long time ago now. And I remember at the time, like I knew it was a big deal and I was really excited about it, but I was also like a kid, like I was like 12 years old, so I was like, ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Like, I would never, like I was like, oh, George Lucas, oh cool, hey, nice to meet you, George. Like, now I'd be like, I'm freaking out. Because like I understand like his position in the world that I work in, as opposed to when I was young, like I was just like, nah.
Yeah, the simplicity of kids, just like, yeah, whatever.
Awesome, I miss it so much.
You don't have the burden of knowledge like you do now.
Hey, exactly.
So, have you got anything else coming up that we might want to know about?
I'm doing a new show at the moment, which is super fun, which is like a more modern, it's called Roadies, and it's a Cameron Crowe written, directed television show about a group of roadies on the, and so we learn about their lives backstage and setting up, and the amount of work that goes into looking after a big band is pretty phenomenal. And Cameron Crowe's the dude, and it's him back in his element, like back in his world that he knows of rock and roll, and so I'm really excited about that. I play like a really funky sound engineer, and yeah.
One final question before we have to cut off here. And I've asked everybody else this. Jon Snow, dead or alive?
I mean, I hope he's dead. Like, follow through.
He's not dead. Okay. I really don't want him.
I mean, I'm so sick of this show throwing me like such intense curveballs and stressing me out.
You're a book reader, right?
Yeah.
So do you not have any theories that maybe...
I have some theories, like it kind of makes sense, but it also seems like a cop-out. Yeah. To put us through that in the first place.
Okay, one more thing. I'm sorry. It's like I'm in my element talking about Game of Thrones and stuff. I need to talk. So, how do you think it's all going to end? I'll tell you how I feel it's going to end.
Okay.
And I've had some, recommendations. They think,
okay.
This is good. I reckon, there's going to be White Walkers invade.
Okay.
That sort of unifies the Westeros slightly. Daenerys comes over with their dragons, starts kicking ass, kills all the White Walkers, blah, blah. Hey, I'm the new queen. And then Littlefinger comes in, stabby. Last scene, Littlefinger on the Iron Throne, smirking, camera pans out.
That is a pretty amazing theory.
Considering he's had his finger in every pie and every death nearly from the start.
From the beginning. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me now that you've said that. That really does. I mean, I was always like vying to see a woman on the throne. But you know what, that makes sense. I mean, you'd get to see, I guess, Daenerys on the throne for a second.
What do you think? I think everybody wants Daenerys to be on the throne, but...
I feel like that seems like the most obvious option. But then, I mean, the show doesn't give us the most obvious, does it? So...
All right, I think we're getting hurried on here, so we're going to have to go. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. I hope you all the best in the future, and hopefully talk to you soon.